300 wins. In baseball, it's the golden ticket to the Hall of Fame. If you win 300 games, you're almost guaranteed a plaque in Cooperstown. What if I told you a pitcher who dominated across 2 decades fell just 3 victories shy of the magic 300 mark and has remained locked out of the Hall of Fame? This is the story of Bobby Mathews. He was an Iron Man of the 19th century, a pioneer of the curveball, and statistically, one of the most dominant pitchers of his era. Today, we're going to break down his life, career, and the statistical injustice that has kept him locked out of the Baseball Hall of Fame for over a century. Robert T. Mathews was born on November 21, 1851, in Baltimore, Maryland. He was not a big man. Mathews was about 5 feet 5 inches, though sometimes generously listed at 5 feet 7 inches and 140 pounds. He was shorter than the period's typical American male. But he had something the 19th century valued above all else: durability. This probably mattered more in that era than any other. Baseball in the 1870s and 80s was an entirely different game. Mathews pitched in an era before 4-man rotations, let alone 5-man ones. Teams usually had only 2 starters, and star pitchers were expected to pitch almost every single day. Mathews' professional career began at the very dawn of professional league play. In 1871, he pitched for the Fort Wayne Kickeongas. He played in the first game of the inaugural season of the National Association. Over the next 17 years, he was a superstar for 4 different franchises, spanning 3 major leagues: the National Association, the National League, and the American Association. He wasn't a flamethrower. He was a finesse pitcher. He was a master of control, changing speeds, and was one of the earliest pioneers of the curveball. Some historians also credit him with inventing the spitball. This has led to a dominant career. Let's look at the raw numbers, because they are staggering. Mathews won 20 or more games 8 times in his career. He won 30 or more games 4 times, 3 of them consecutive, and including a career-high 42. He retired with 297 wins against 248 losses, with an ERA of 2.86. His wins above replacement or WAR suggests he was a top-tier pitcher for nearly 2 decades and is among the highest for pitchers outside the Hall. He had a 62.6 WAR as a pitcher, though poor hitting reduced his career WAR to 55.4. So we have a guy with nearly 600 complete games, a great WAR, and 297 wins. Why isn't he in the Hall of Fame? Welcome to the 300 Club phenomenon. For decades, the Veterans Committee, which reviews historical players, used 300 wins as an almost automatic ticket to the Hall. It is true that you can get in with less than 300, but that is rare for 19th century pitchers. Because Mathews fell just 3 wins short, he was viewed as not quite good enough. It's a psychological barrier that has unfairly punished him for over a century. This is similar to star outfielder Sam Rice, who had 2,987 hits, missing the golden milestone of 3,000 by 13, and thus had to wait 29 years to get into the Hall. Now, to be fair to the Hall of Fame voters, there are a few other arguments against Mathews, beyond just being 3 wins short. First, his career straddled several major rule changes. The distance to the plate changed, and the number of balls required for a walk changed. Because his career spanned the raw beginnings of professional ball and the more developed 1880s, it can be hard to contextualize his dominance. For example, he debuted when the mound was 45 feet away from home plate. In 1881, it was moved to 50 feet. In 1887, the last season of his playing career, baseball briefly moved the mound back to an effective distance of 55 feet and 6 inches. Second, while he was consistently great, he was rarely the undisputed best pitcher in baseball at any given time. Contemporaries like Pud Galvin or Tim Keefe often overshadowed him in the headlines. Third, Mathews played most of his career and got most of his wins in the National Association and American Association. Both are official major leagues, but some voters dismiss these two as inferior to the National or American leagues. And finally, there's the tragic human element. Bobby Mathews died at just 46 years old, shortly after his career ended. He didn't live long enough into the 20th century to lobby for himself or be rediscovered by writers, unlike some of his peers. But modern sabermetrics have been very kind to Bobby Mathews. When we look at his numbers through a modern lens, his cumulative value surpasses many 19th century pitchers already in the Hall of Fame. He was a workhorse who carried his teams on his back. His peak was sustained for 15 years. If you were building an all-time 19th century team, Bobby Mathews has a legitimate claim to a spot in the rotation. Bobby Mathews represents a bridge between the rustic, bare-knuckle origins of baseball and the professional game we recognize today. He deserves to be remembered for his 525 complete games, his 2.65 ERA, and his incredible 297 victories. The Veterans Committee needs to correct this historical oversight. It's time to take the invisible barrier of 300 wins down and finally induct Bobby Mathews into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Mathews died on April 17, 1898. He was 46. What do you think? Are 297 wins enough, or should Mathews and most other 19th century pitchers be excluded from the Hall for missing 300? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into baseball history. A special shout out to the members of our YouTube community. They help in our humble efforts in preserving baseball history, one video at a time. You can join their ranks by clicking on the join button or the link below. Your help goes a long way. Thank you. I'll see you in the next video.